The spaceship landed on the quiet alien world. It was not a busy place. There were no big cities or loud noises. Only trees, small animals, and a few people who lived there. The crew from Earth came to study the place. They wanted to learn about the animals and find things they could use back home. The planet was green and wild, with deep forests and tall mountains. Jack was one of the crew members. He was young and not as serious as some of the others. He liked to explore and learn new things. When he heard the local settlers talk about a strange alien girl, he became very interested. They said she lived alone in the forests. They called her Firo because she did not speak, wore no clothes like humans did, and moved quickly. The settlers said she was dangerous, especially during some nights when the moons were bright in the sky. Jack asked a woman named Carla about the alien girl. Carla had lived on the planet for many years. She shook her head and told Jack not to go looking for trouble. She said, "People who go after that girl come back scared or hurt if they come back at all. When she is in heat, she becomes wild. Animals run from her. Even strong men stay away." Jack listened to the warnings, but he wanted to know more. He thought maybe the alien girl was not so bad. Maybe she was just lonely or scared. Jack did not like the way people talked about her, as if she was only a danger and nothing more. He asked other settlers, but no one wanted to say much. Some just made the sign for "stay away" with their hands. Jack felt even more curious now. One day, while exploring near the edge of the forest, Jack heard a sharp cry. He looked around but saw nothing. The trees were thick, and the ground was soft with leaves. He kept walking, moving slowly and carefully. Then he saw something move between the trees. It was fast and hard to see. He stopped and waited. After a while, he saw her. The alien girl was smaller than Jack thought, but she looked strong. Her skin was a pale blue, and her hair was long and silver. She watched Jack with sharp yellow eyes. She did not run away, but she did not come closer either. Jack felt his heart beat faster. He did not move, trying not to scare her. They stared at each other for a long time. Jack raised his hand slowly, showing he had nothing in it. The girl just watched him, quiet and careful. Suddenly there was a loud sound far away. The girl turned her head and ran into the trees. Jack stood there, surprised at how fast she moved. He knew now that the stories were true, she was real, and she was different from anyone he had ever seen. But he also saw something in her eyes. It was not just wildness. There was fear, and maybe sadness too. Jack went back to the camp that night, but he could not stop thinking about her. The other crew members joked about the feral girl, saying she was like a wild animal. Jack did not join in. He wondered if anyone had tried to help her or talk to her. He thought maybe she needed a friend, not someone to chase her or catch her. That night, Jack looked at the two moons in the sky. They were both full and bright, shining down on the forest. He remembered Carla's words about the girl being most dangerous when the moons were high. But Jack did not feel afraid. He felt sorry for the alien girl, living alone in the dark woods while everyone else stayed away. He decided that he would try to learn more about her, but he would be careful and kind. He did not want to hurt her or make her afraid. He wanted to understand why she was alone and why no one else wanted to get close. In the days that followed, Jack walked by the forest often. Sometimes he thought he saw a flash of silver hair or yellow eyes watching him from the trees. He did not try to follow her. Instead, he left small gifts near the forest edge, a piece of fruit, some water, or a soft blanket. He hoped she would see that he meant no harm. Jack's curiosity grew every day. He wondered what the alien girl ate, where she slept, and what had happened to make her so alone. He wanted to learn her story, but he knew he had to wait and let her come to him. For now, Jack was patient. He hoped that one day the alien girl would trust him enough to let him come closer. Every day Jack watched the forest. He was careful not to go too close. He did not want to scare the alien girl. He left gifts in the same place each time. Sometimes the fruit was gone when he returned. Sometimes the water cup had moved. Jack smiled, guessing the girl was taking what he left. He felt a little proud each time he noticed something was missing. Jack kept asking people about the alien girl. Carla shook her head and told him to leave her alone. She said the girl was wild and could hurt him. A man named Leo told him a story. He said once a group of hunters tried to catch the girl. She bit one of them and ran off. The man had deep scars on his arm. Leo said, "She is not safe, Jack. She is not like us. Leave her in the woods." But Jack did not feel afraid. He thought about the look in her yellow eyes. He did not see hate. He saw someone who was hurt and alone. He wondered, what happened to her family? Why did she live by herself in the woods? At night, Jack wrote in his small notebook. He drew pictures of the girl and the gifts he left for her. He wrote about her blue skin, her silver hair, and the way she watched him. He wanted to remember everything. He hoped one day he could talk to her, or at least learn her name. One evening, as the sun was setting, Jack went to the forest edge again. He sat down on the grass and waited. He did not bring food this time. He just wanted to see if the girl would show herself. The sky turned orange and pink. The air was quiet. Jack listened to the sound of birds. He waited a long time while he saw movement in the trees. The alien girl was there, watching him from behind a thick branch. Jack stayed still. He did not look straight at her. He wanted her to feel safe. He talked softly, saying, "Hello, my name is Jack. I will not hurt you. I just want to be your friend." The girl did not move. She looked at Jack, her eyes bright. In the fading light, Jack smiled and picked up a small rock. He rolled it gently toward her. She watched the rock but did not pick it up. She turned her head and listened to the forest. Jack saw her nose move as if she was smelling the air. Jack kept talking, saying simple words. He told her about the spaceship and the other crew. He talked about the stars and the moons. He told her about the animals he saw in the forest. The girl listened, but she did not come closer. She seemed less afraid than before. Suddenly, there was a noise behind Jack. He turned and saw 2 settlers from the camp. They laughed and pointed at Jack, talking to the wild girl. One said, "You'll never get close. She's not like..." "Yes?" The alien girl stepped back, ready to run. Jack waved at her and said, "It's okay." But she was gone, moving fast through the trees. The settlers laughed again and left Jack alone. Jack felt sad. He hoped the girl did not think he was trying to trick her. That night, Jack looked at the sky. The 2 moons were high and bright again. Jack remembered what Carla had said. The girl was most wild when the moons were full. Maybe that was why. She stayed away. Maybe she felt different inside and did not trust anyone. The next day, Jack made a plan. He wanted the girl to know he would not hurt her. He took off his backpack and left it near the forest edge. Inside was a soft scarf, some dried fruit, and a picture he had drawn of the forest. He sat far away and watched. Hours passed, but Jack did not give up. At last, he saw the girl come out of the trees. She walked slowly to the backpack. She touched it and pulled out the scarf. She rubbed it on her face, then sniffed the fruit. She looked at Jack, then at the drawing. For a moment she stood very still. Then she took the fruit and the picture and ran back into the woods, leaving the scarf behind. Jack smiled. He felt happy and hopeful. The girl had taken something he gave her. Maybe she was starting to trust him, just a little. Jack wrote in his notebook that night, drawing a new picture of the girl holding the fruit. He promised himself he would keep trying. He did not want to give up. He wanted to show the alien girl that not all people were afraid of her. Some just wanted to be her friend. Jack woke up early the next day. He could not stop thinking about the alien girl and the way she took his drawing. He wanted to see her again. He packed a small bag with some food and a warm blanket. The air was cool and the sky was cloudy. Jack walked to the forest, careful not to make too much noise. He stopped at the same place where he always left gifts. The scarf he gave the girl was still there, but he saw small footprints in the dirt. He smiled and placed a few berries and a bottle of water on the ground. Jack sat down on a fallen tree and waited. He listened to the birds and the wind moving through the leaves. Hours went by, but Jack did not move. He was patient. He wanted the alien girl to see that he would not leave or try to chase her. He hoped she would feel safe with him nearby. Later that day, Jack heard voices far away. He looked up and saw a group of settlers walking along the edge of the forest. They talked loudly and pointed to the trees. Jack watched as they moved closer. He could hear their words. One man said, "We saw the wild girl last night. She was running through the field. We almost caught her." Another man laughed and said, "Next time we will use nets. She is just an animal. We can catch her if we work together." Jack felt angry when he heard these words. He wanted to shout at them, but he stayed quiet. He did not want them to know he was there. He waited until the settlers left, then walked deeper into the woods. He wanted to make sure the alien girl was safe. Jack moved slowly, looking for any sign of the girl. The forest was dark and cool. He found a small cave with soft leaves inside. It looked like someone had slept there. Jack left a piece of bread and a small light near the cave. He hoped the girl would find them. Suddenly, Jack heard a noise behind him. He turned and saw the alien girl standing in the shadows. She watched him with her bright yellow eyes. Jack raised his hands to show he had nothing dangerous. He spoke softly, "It's me, Jack. I won't hurt you." The girl did not move. She looked tired and a little scared. Jack noticed a scratch on her arm. It looked new. He opened his bag and took out a clean cloth. He moved slowly and placed the cloth on the ground. He said, "You can use this. It will help your arm." The girl stepped forward just a little. She bent down and picked up the cloth. She sniffed it, then pressed it to her arm. Jack smiled at her, trying to show he was friendly. The girl did not run away. She stood there for a moment, then turned and disappeared into the trees. Jack felt a mix of happiness and worry. He was glad the girl trusted him enough to take his gift, but he was sad to see her hurt. He wanted to help her more. He decided to come back every day to bring her food and things that might help her. He wanted to protect her from the settlers, who wanted to catch her. That night, Jack sat by the fire at his camp. He told Carla about what he saw. Carla shook her head and said, "You should be careful, Jack. People are getting angry. They think the girl is dangerous. If something bad happens, they might blame you." Jack understood, but he could not forget the look in the girl's eyes. He promised Carla he would be careful, but he would not stop trying to help the alien girl. He wrote in his notebook about the scratch on her arm and how she took the cloth from him. The next day, Jack went back to the forest. He found the cave empty, but the bread and light were gone. He smiled, knowing the girl had come back. He left more food and checked for tracks. He saw small footprints leading deeper into the woods. Jack followed the tracks, moving slowly and quietly. He saw the girl sitting by a small stream, washing her arm. He stayed back, not wanting to scare her. He called her name softly, even though he did not know her real name. He just called her friend. The girl looked up and watched him. Jack waved and sat down far away, letting her know he would not come closer. They sat together in the quiet forest, not talking, but sharing the same space. Jack felt peaceful. He knew it would take time, but he was sure the alien girl would trust him more every day. He wanted to help her, no matter what other people thought. Jack kept coming to the forest every day. He brought food, water, and other small things that he thought the alien girl might need. Sometimes he found the things gone, sometimes they stayed there for days. He never knew when he would see her. But Jack did not give up. He felt that if he was kind and patient, the girl would learn to trust him more and more. One morning, Jack found something new at the edge of the forest. Someone had left a small pile of shiny rocks and 2 bright feathers near the spot where he always left food. Jack smiled when he saw them. He believed the alien girl had left these things for him. It was her way to say thank you. Jack took the rocks and feathers back to his camp. He put them in his notebook. He wrote, "She gave me a gift. Maybe she is not afraid now." At afternoon, Jack decided to try something new. He brought a piece of bread and a small cup of honey. He sat down on the soft grass near the forest and began to eat the bread. He made sure to sit quietly and not move quickly. Soon, he heard the sound of leaves moving. He looked up and saw the alien girl watching him from behind a tree. Jack broke the bread in half and placed the other half on the ground. Then he pushed the cup of honey close to it. The girl stepped out from behind the tree. She moved slowly and watched Jack with her yellow eyes. She crouched down and picked up the bread. She sniffed it and took a small bite. Jack saw her eyes widen with surprise. She dipped her finger into the honey and tasted it. She made a soft sound, and for the first time Jack heard her laugh. It was a short sound, but it made Jack very happy. Jack talked to her in a quiet voice. He told her about the world he came from and about his family back on Earth. He said his mother liked to bake bread and his father liked to grow flowers. The girl listened. She did not talk back, but she seemed calm and relaxed. As the days passed, Jack saw the girl more often. Sometimes she was close, sometimes she stayed far away. They did not need words. They used small signs and simple looks to talk to each other. When Jack waved, the girl sometimes waved back. When Jack smiled, she smiled too. It was slow, but the trust between them grew stronger. One evening, Jack saw the girl moving fast through the trees. She looked upset. Her skin seemed darker and her eyes shone bright in the moonlight. Jack felt worried. He remembered what Carla had said about the girl being wild when the moons were full. Jack kept his distance but watched her carefully. The girl ran to the edge of the clearing and then stopped. She looked at Jack and then at the sky. She seemed restless and full of energy. Jack wanted to help. He remembered the soft blanket he brought. He walked slowly and placed it near her. The girl did not run away, but she did not come close right away. She looked at the blanket, then at Jack. Finally, she sat down and wrapped the blanket around her shoulders. She made a low sound, like a sigh. Jack sat down nearby and waited. The girl watched the sky. The 2 moons were high and bright. Jack felt the air grow cool and quiet. He could feel the girl's worry, even though she did not say anything. Jack said, "It is okay. You are not alone." He hoped she understood. That night, the girl stayed close to Jack for the first time. She did not run into the trees. She sat with him under the bright moons. Jack watched as she closed her eyes and rested her head on her knees. He wondered what she was thinking about. Maybe she missed her family. Maybe she was afraid of the settlers who wanted to catch her. Jack wanted her to know he would always help her. The next morning, the girl was gone, but the blanket was still there, folded neatly on the grass. Jack picked it up and smiled. He knew she was thankful. He felt proud. He hoped the girl would keep coming back and would feel safe with him. Jack wrote in his notebook, "We are not so different we can be friends." Every day after that, Jack kept visiting the forest. He saw the girl more often. She trusted him more and more. They did not need words to share how they felt. Jack was happy. He felt like he was finally making a real friend, even on a strange world far from home. The days passed and Jack noticed changes in the alien girl. Myra, as he had quietly named her, seemed restless at times. Her moods changed quickly and sometimes she was harder to find. Jack remembered what Carla had said about the moons and the heat. Myra's species had a time when their feelings and actions became stronger and less controlled. One day, Myra was not at the usual place near the forest edge. Jack looked for her all day. He found broken branches and deep footprints near a stream. It was clear Myra had been there but moved quickly. Jack worried she might be hurt or scared. He left food and water by the stream and hoped she would come back. The settlers in the camp were also noticing Myra's strange behavior. They whispered to each other, and some were afraid. They said the girl was more dangerous during her heat. Some wanted to hunt her down or trap her. Jack heard their talks and felt a strong need to protect Myra. He knew she did not want to hurt anyone. She was just going through a hard time. One evening, Jack found Myra alone near the camp. She was pacing and her breathing was fast. Her eyes glowed bright under the moonlight. Jack knew this was her heat time. He wanted to help but was not sure how. He stayed back and watched her quietly, giving her space but staying close enough to keep her safe. Suddenly, a group of settlers came near. They saw Myra and shouted, "She's wild! Catch her before she hurts someone." The settlers moved forward with nets and ropes. Myra growled and backed away, showing her sharp teeth. Jack stepped in front of the settlers and raised his hands. "Stop!" Jack said firmly. "She is not a danger to you." Please don't hurt her. The settlers looked at Jack with anger. One man said, "You're her friend? You're helping a wild animal?" Jack nodded. "She needs help, not harm. I promise she won't hurt anyone." The settlers were not sure what to do. Some lowered their nets, but others stayed ready. Jack slowly moved toward Myra and held out his hand. Myra watched Jack carefully, then took a step forward. Jack smiled and gave her a piece of dried fruit. Myra took it and ate slowly. The tension in the air began to lessen. Jack spoke to the settlers, asking them to understand Myra's pain and fear. He told them about the gifts and how Myra was learning to trust humans. Slowly, the settlers backed away and left Myra and Jack alone. That night, Jack sat by the fire and wrote in his notebook. He felt proud but worried too. He knew Myra's heat would end, but the danger from the settlers was real. Jack decided he must do more to keep Myra safe. In the days that followed, Jack stayed near the forest more often. He watched over Myra and helped her find food and water. He kept an eye on the settlers, ready to stop anyone who tried to hurt her. Jack knew it was a hard path, but he would not give up. One afternoon, Myra came to Jack with something in her hand, a small flower with bright petals. She held it out to Jack and looked at him with soft eyes. Jack took the flower and smiled. He felt their bond growing stronger. Even without words, they understood each other. Jack felt hope. He believed that with time, Myra and the settlers might live together in peace. He knew it would take courage and kindness from everyone. But Jack was ready to fight for Myra and for a better future on this wild, strange world. Jack's story was no longer just about a wild alien girl. It was about friendship, trust, and courage. It was about looking beyond fear and seeing the heart inside someone different. Jack knew this was only the beginning of their journey together. One quiet night, Jack was walking near the forest when he saw strange lights in the distance. They were not like the campfires or the spaceship lights. These lights were bright and moved quickly. Jack's heart beat faster. He knew this was trouble. He moved closer and saw a group of men and women wearing dark clothes. They carried nets and strange machines. Jack understood quickly they were poachers. They came to catch Myra and sell her to people who wanted rare and wild creatures. Jack felt anger and fear. He had to warn Myra. Jack ran back to the camp and shouted for help, but most of the settlers did not want to listen. They were afraid or did not believe him. Jack knew he could not wait for others. He had to act fast. He grabbed a small pack with food and a light. Then he ran toward the forest, hoping to find Myra before the poachers did. The forest was dark, but Jack knew the paths well now. He called out softly, "Myra! Myra, it's Jack. You must hide. They are coming." From the shadows, Myra appeared. Her eyes shone bright, and she looked ready to fight. Jack handed her some food and said, "Stay close, I will help you." The poachers were close now. Jack could hear their voices and see their flashlights moving through the trees. He took a deep breath and made a plan. He remembered the streams and hills from his maps. He wanted to lead Myra to a place where they could hide safely. Jack moved quietly, with Myra following him. They walked fast but carefully. The poachers heard them and started to follow. Jack heard one say, "There, she's running. Catch her." Jack's heart pounded. He looked around for a place to hide. Near a big tree, he saw a small cave covered by bush. He whispered to Myra, "Hide here. I will watch and keep you safe." Myra slipped into the cave. Jack sat outside and waited. The poachers came closer, shining their lights all around. Jack stayed very still and quiet. The poachers searched, but they did not see the cave. After a long time, the poachers gave up and left. Jack waited until the forest was calm again. Then he went inside the cave and saw Myra safe but tired. He gave her water and covered her with a blanket. Jack knew they had to leave the area soon. The poachers might come back. He decided to talk to the settlers and ask for help. If they worked together, they could protect Myra and the forest. The next day, Jack gathered the settlers and told them about the poachers. He showed them the footprints and the broken branches. Some settlers looked scared. Others were angry. Jack said, "We must protect Myra. She is not a wild animal to hunt. She's part of this world, just like us." The settlers talked and agreed to help. They made plans to watch the forest and keep Myra safe. Jack felt hope. For the first time, he believed they could live in peace. Myra came to the camp slowly. She stayed close to Jack and the settlers. She was still wild at times, but she trusted the humans more. Jack saw her smile again and heard her soft laugh. Together, they faced danger and fear, but Jack knew their friendship was strong. He believed that with kindness and courage, they could change the hearts of the settlers and the world. Jack looked at Myra and said, "We will be okay, I promise." Myra looked back with bright eyes, and Jack knew they were ready for whatever came next. After the poachers left and the settlers agreed to help, things began to change. Myra was no longer just a wild alien girl who lived in fear. She started to visit the human camp more often. At first, she stayed at the edges of the camp, watching quietly. But with Jack by her side, she felt safe enough to come closer. The settlers, who had once feared and avoided her, now looked at her with new eyes. They saw that she was not a monster, but a living being with feelings. Jack told them stories about Myra and how she had helped him see the world differently. Slowly, the settlers began to accept Myra. Myra learned to trust more people. She watched how the settlers lived and sometimes joined their small gatherings. She never spoke words like humans, but she used simple signs and smiles to show she was happy. Jack was always near, ready to help and protect her. One day, the settlers held a small ceremony to welcome Myra. They gave her a soft cloak made from their warmest fabrics. Myra looked surprised but grateful. She wrapped the cloak around her shoulders and smiled at Jack. The settlers clapped and cheered. It was a new beginning. Jack felt proud. He had helped Myra find a place where she belonged. But he also knew the journey was not over. There were still challenges ahead. Some settlers were still unsure about Myra, and the dangers of the wild world outside the camp remained. Myra's heat time came again, but this time it was different. She did not have to be alone or afraid. Jack stayed close, comforting her with kind words and gentle touches. The settlers respected her space and helped keep her safe. Myra's wildness became a part of who she was, but it did not scare anyone anymore. With each day, Myra grew stronger and more confident. She helped Jack explore the forest, pointing out plants and animals that humans had never seen. Together, they learned from each other. Jack taught Myra about Earth and human ways. Myra showed Jack how to listen to the forest and live with respect. For all creatures, their friendship became a story told around campfires. It was a story of courage, kindness, and hope. Jack and Myra showed that even the wildest hearts could be tamed with love and trust. One evening, under the light of the two moons, Jack and Myra stood at the edge of the forest. Myra looked at Jack with bright eyes full of trust. Jack smiled and said, "We made a good team. Together we can face anything." Myra nodded and reached out her hand. Jack took it gently. They stood together, ready for whatever the future held. The wild alien girl was no longer alone. She had found a home, a friend, and a family. And the human who dared to approach her had changed the world.